You are listening to Talk for the Non Talkers, an introvert's field guide to thriving in a world that often favors the loud. I am Sanjay Gopinath, your host. This show is produced by Indira Priyadarshini, and together we explore how quiet minds can lead, connect, and show up powerfully without pretending to be someone they are not. So, thank you, Lorraine, again for joining us on another episode of the podcast. Really happy to get you for us as well as for our audience today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, so let's get directly into the questions for the benefit of the audience. So, how do you balance these constant demands of being a parent as well as a caregiver for your son? Being an introvert, I know this is energy sapping, and then I'm sure that you have some methods of coping with this, and over a period of time, you have also developed some of the tricks and tips of how to kind of maintain this balance while you take care of yourself.
Yes, it's very important to take care of ourselves, especially being an introvert, because it is very energy draining. And I think when you first kind of feel that you're an introvert, you start worrying because you start worrying, thinking that, oh God, am I isolating? Am I, you start checking mental illnesses, you start thinking, oh God, am I depressed? But when I actually checked up about being an introvert and read up on it, it ticks all the boxes. I like being on my own. I'm not sad being on my own. So for that being a parent and then having five kids, you're never really on your own because you're busy with five kids and with one son that's special needs. So for me, it's very important that I do my grounding in the morning. So first thing before I wake up and be mammy, I make sure I check in myself, how am I feeling? How is my energy? If I need 15 minutes in the garden before I wake the kids up, I would go do 15 minutes. I love meditation in the morning. So I'll do my meditations and I love having a cup of cacao in the morning. And that helps regulate myself. So I'll always check in the morning, first thing, 15 to 30 minutes. How am I? So then I can build myself up to take on the role of mammy and the kids, because what I realized is you have five kids, you're dealing with five different personalities.
Right.
So they're so different. Every one of them is different. Their needs are different. So it is so busy. So and I realized that I'm the introvert, that they're not the introvert. So I have to bring tools and skills to me in order to help me be with them. So I'm not stopping them growing. I'm not keeping them, safe for me. I have to let them, and especially my son, he has cerebral palsy and autism. He loves staying in. He loves he's kind of introverted as well. So you always have that company as well,
Mhm.
with him. But I also know he needs to go out and stuff like that. But he's very like me. He has to be out when it's quiet, when the park is quiet, and shopping centres and stuff for him were always so busy. So we just went around different times. So in the morning, when the park is busy, we go at the quieter time, or if he needs the cinemas or stuff, we will go in the morning when there's less people there than when there is more people there. So we've kind of twigged little times around when people are probably more out than when we would go. We do see swims extra early in the morning
Yeah.
when it's quieter.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had some good things here, and which definitely will help us and many of the others who are introverted is to spend some time with yourself, probably early in the morning in the garden with the nature, or do some kind of meditation so that you are energized to take care of the needs of the others. Like brilliant points. Thanks, Lorraine, for sharing that. Yeah, and I'm sure that as an introvert for a period of time in the full-time career as a caregiver and helping the family around, what do you think are some of the strengths that the introverts are bringing while doing this when probably you compare with the others? So what are some of the strengths which you feel are beneficial in this case, and which we as introverts should be reliant on those kind of strengths rather than worrying about some of the other so-called shortcomings?
Yeah, for me, it's the independence.
Hmm.
My strength would be I'd be very independent. So I would bring that to the kids because if for me, if I feel that my energy is low, um, I would speak to the kids. So it's great that we have that conversation. I'd speak and let them know I'm feeling low in energy. I'm not feeling so high. The kids were like, okay, well, we throw little ideas together how we manage that or what we do. But for me, the big strength is independence. I can do things more independently, and I
Hmm.
suppose I'm teaching the kids to be more independent um rely well not really relying on, but it would be their first go-to would be independent. And if they found, okay, I'm hitting challenges that they can ask, because for me, I would be independent first, and that is would be my strength. But if I feel that, okay, challenge after challenge is coming, then I'd talk to the kids and we would talk, or even if it's family members, so I'd sit down, I'd say, look, I've checked in myself, I'm really low right now, you know, I'll come back to that. Or is there any other ways around that we can do our challenges, or what we need, So I think it's always talking as well
Hmm.
is a real strength, that if you're
Very
taught
good.
I'm being heard, being actively heard. I know when I speak, the kids hear me, and they love throwing ideas. They
Yep.
love saying, "Oh, I've thought this. We do this," or then everybody else feels involved. And then we feel like we're a family. Like we all get involved together and throw our ideas, and they like saying, "I thought that one." They
Very
love getting
nice.
that one in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. Glad to hear that. So, yeah, I think you are right. I think one of the stronger points which you also mentioned was about active listening. So, listening to others, and that is one good strength that introverts bring to table. And also, when you actively listen, you also have more empathy with the
Yes.
other person, and this
Yeah.
helps build stronger relationships as well as probably manage the situation well. Okay, but I'm sure. I mean, we are introverted. But we live in a world which has got a lot of extroverts. So, have you felt the pressure of acting extroverted anytime in your personal life? And then, how do you kind of manage that situation?
Yes, this would be a very good question, because when you have kids, you're always expected. Well, I don't expected, yeah, or feel I feel I have to like you say, birthday parties, schools. As soon as they start schools, it's like, okay, I want the 20 kids round at the birthday parties. Or for me, the biggest fear is being invited to a birthday party.
Yeah.
Having my kids being invited to a birthday party is overwhelming for me. So yeah, I think society, and I think when COVID came, for me it was a blessing, because there was nobody in the park. So for me, COVID felt like, oh God, this is a break. I'm getting to chill.
Yeah.
This is the life. So for me, I loved that.
Yeah.
But and then when I saw the big groups that were coming together, there was swimming groups, there was running groups, and they are absolutely fantastic for extroverts. But for introverts, it's so overwhelming. But I felt, oh God, everybody's saying, like, I think there was kind of a lot of talk around people being mentally ill
Hmm.
from it, that you will end up like isolated, depressed, or what, And I'm sure people did. But for an introvert, it was an absolute heaven sent chilling, But I then started questioning. I was like, oh God, should I be out? I felt pressure. I
Hmm.
was like, should I be going to all these swim groups, because am I not going to be okay? Or, I started, and then, so I started going. And when I was going to the swim groups, I was going to the runs, I just found my energy so draining, but it was so overwhelming. And it just felt like there was always one thing after another. There's always go, go, go. It's always a next group, a next thing, or it was always keep busy, keep going.
Yep.
So I found I got really, yeah, burnt my energy massively in that sense, And then I suppose then when you're on social media as well, if you're on social media, which I've come off, because if you're on it, you're seeing that so many people are going, and then you're like, oh God, should I be doing that? Should I be
Yep.
constantly on the go? So then you feel a judgment from people. Well, not that I feel a judgment. I'm in my own mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're thinking she's isolating. Oh no, you can't be isolating. You got to come, you got to do this. And that for me was that was very hard. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're going and you're standing, you're in the picture, like, oh no, I don't want to be here. I just want to go home.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just get me
Yeah.
home. And then when you get home, you've got you've got 5 kids, you've got to keep going at that. So for me, I just didn't feel I was being authentic to myself. I
Mm.
wasn't saying, or I wasn't checking in with me. I was just so out. Or so yeah, that I felt the pressure. I suppose the judgment as well that I put on myself from that place, that if I wasn't doing it because so many people look happy and they're out, so I checked in and I was like, I'm actually happy. So I'm not depressed. So I'm not isolating. So I think you go deep with yourself, you go deep with questions when you feel pressure from society,
Okay.
when you feel, the pressure, you check, is this me?
Yeah.
Am I being authentic to myself?
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. I mean, nice. I mean, I can completely relate to it. Of course, then when the kids want birthday parties as a mother, then you are also forced to probably do that. But I think what experiences you shared are really relatable, and then I'm sure that that's also helped for the listeners. Uh, the coming to the society, like we talked about yourself, we talked about the friends around you, and then we are talking now about the society. So at least from the part where I grew up, like the society like India, there are some cultural norms and societal expectations on how to behave in some certain scenarios. And sometimes, to be very fair, this is not helping an introvert to actually align to these norms. So I just want to understand from your childhood and the society which you belong now, are there some of these pressures, cultural norms or societal norms, which are actually impacting your character as an introvert? And like, how do you manage such scenarios?
Yes, very good question. Because when we grew up as kids, as in the 80s, everybody was out in
Mm.
Ireland. You were out on the road and everybody played together, and it's the community reared you as a kid growing up. Then at them times, and I think society is so busy. Then it was so busy, nobody checked in, nobody checked, is anybody an introvert or an
Yep.
extrovert?
Yep.
Everybody just, so I think then people don't know who they are then as a character
Mm.
grown up, because they're taking so many society kind of things grown up. And then now I question as a character, you know, is this me, or is it something from my childhood that I'm being? Because I questioned a lot of, introverted, being introvert. I was questioned, is it related to trauma?
Mm-hmm.
Are we more introverted because we seen trauma in a different sense,
Mm-hmm.
or society did it impact me more and I saw it and it made me kind of be introverted? Or did somebody in my society, in my childhood, my family, did they see trauma in different senses and that made them be outer in the world? Or that for me is the question that I come back to. Am I an introvert because of trauma as a childhood, or society? And I think everything is more accepted now. Life is busy and there's so many more people talking about introverts and extroverts, and a lot more people asking a lot more about themselves. Who am I? What's my personality? What's my character? Is this me? So I feel, and people are more open-minded now. I
Yep.
think that's so much more better to, like, so much more people open-minded, and they're curious. as well now, and we're allowed to be we're probably more curious now and asking questions now as adults, as well as we're talking to our kids. I know when I was growing up, my parents wouldn't talk about introvert or extrovert or any, you
Yeah,
know.
I can very well relate to it. As you rightly said, I think now there is a vocabulary to explain some of these things, define some of these things, a lot more of acceptance, and I think a lot more of openness. And as you rightly pointed out, now the kids can actually, in many cases, of course, it depends on culture to culture, tradition to tradition. But kids can actually open up with their parents, their close ones, about some of the things which they are feeling, which is like really good. So things I guess have changed in the right direction, or rather moving in the right direction to accommodate and be inclusive with these kinds of traits. And as you rightly said, I've been growing up as like me, maybe I don't know when I first kind of stumbled on this word called introvert. Probably that's very late. I'm sure that I probably learned it introvert antonym extrovert, but didn't kind of get like what that means. And in
Yeah.
many cases, people also think that, oh, that guy, he seems to be talking much, so he is extroverted. So again, there are a lot of busting of myths that we have been also doing in this podcast in terms of many of our established notions about introversion and extroversion are getting either busted at least during this podcast series, and again, I think your presence is also helpful in that. Now, uh, of course, when you come to closer family members, we cannot expect everybody to be introverted or everybody to be extroverted. So, was there any situations or any kind of relationships which you have to manage where there was when an introversion and extroversion, I'm not talking into the other parts of personality, but where you had to manage them, and how do you actually manage close relationships? Of course, the society and all, we can choose probably, okay, I need to kind of be
Yeah.
there, not there. There is some bit, of course, there is some bit of attachment to there, but we can choose. Okay, birthday party, we probably can choose not to do the birthday party even if our son is not happy. But in our family, it is inevitable that we 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 work with them, we discuss with them, and we coexist with them. So it would be good to get some inputs from you in terms of were there some kind of personality conflicts, introversion, extroversion, and then how did you manage that? Probably there's people are more interested in this, like how do you manage some of these conflict of personality when it is closer relationships?
Yes. Well, especially in the house with five kids, there's definitely five different personalities. And I can see the extroverted kids and I can see the introverted. So I can see, and around managing that, I again comes back to actively listening and holding presence and space for the kids
Hmm.
in the house. So my son with autism, he would be very introverted. He would doesn't like socializing. So, but and then there's bigger personalities in the house, they're extroverted, they love being out, they love talking. But I also have to celebrate that too for them so they don't feel that, okay, well, mom is wanting quiet time, which they do have boundaries for. But I also have to remember to myself that I'm the parent here, that the kids, when the extroverts, they love jujitsu, and that for me, going to a big hall with jujitsu is so overpowering. So if
Hmm.
I say, I'm just going to go out for 10 minutes, they know I'm going out to
Yeah.
ground. I will take my shoes off, I will ground, and I'll come back in and, try to be present. And sometimes it can get overwhelming. It can get to the point where it just really drains my energy. And I have to leave, but they understand that. And
Hmm.
then for my introverted son, if he doesn't want to do anything and the other kids want to do something, we have to respect this is how he's feeling. And, not today, just not today. We're not going to go because he's not okay or I'm not okay, that we're just tired. So we kind of actively listen and respect and understand and I suppose talk. And um, that's where I'm teaching the kids, I suppose. But for me, having a personal relationship would be my twin sister. We're
Okay.
identical twins, and in my view, she would be an extrovert. She would be. she loves outdoors. She loves doing crazy stuff. Like, oh, her day, she hates it at home. Like, so we're the absolute opposites. Um, and from my view of an extrovert, she was so caring, as in like you don't need to stay in, come out, come out. She's always trying to get people out. She's always trying to help. And from such a loving place,
Yeah.
she is like, she loves the crowd. She loves the banter. She loves everybody. And I think it feeds her energy wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know she does like meditation as well, and she does her own time also. But if I was to describe her, she would be she loves big walks, big hikes, the
Okay.
big groups. And
Right.
so for me, I felt the pressure of having to be there because it was my sister.
Yeah.
And I would have felt, oh God, I have to go, I have to go. And out the love of her heart, she'd be up, come on, we're going swimming 3 o'clock. Then maybe 10 o'clock, we were going to climb 3 mountains of Ireland, you know. And then we were going to do bungee jump at the end of the day. So that would be, and out of love, it would be like, come on, we're going, we're going, we're going. But for me, it was like, I can't do this. It was so overwhelming, but I felt, for us to have time together, this is what we need to do. And, but then I realized, gosh, I'm draining. I'm
Mhm.
getting lower and lower and lower. So I kind of had to come to a boundary with myself and say, no, you can say no. It's okay, and without without hurting her or something like that. I'd be like, oh God, just not today, And then I had to realize I am an introvert and that's okay, as much as she's an extrovert, and that's okay. And I think when there's that acceptance that you are you and I am me, and that's okay. And then I think comes the compassion, where you just have compassion for them being who they are. And it's just having that boundary in place. If I'm not feeling okay today to come, I, we both accept that. Or if she wants to climb things and I'm like, okay, I feel okay, I will go then, that kind of way. So I suppose it is just checking in again and
Mhm.
being true to myself. And also checking in, is it, because sometimes it could be like, okay, am I feeling depressed today? And if I'm feeling depressed, I'm like, you've got 10 minutes to talk to yourself. Why are you sad? Why are you depressed? Okay, but now we're going to go and do something for yourself. So it's always checking in that it's not a situation that's happened, or it's not if you're feeling a kind of depressed or anxiety. I always check in, that way. And because sometimes if I before I felt pressure to be there, I found my anxiety a lot higher. I
Mhm.
found, if I don't have a boundary, or if I can't speak how I feel and feel safe to speak
Yeah.
how I feel,
Yeah.
well, then there's got to be a boundary. There's got to be, you know, um, acceptance, I think,
Yeah.
is massively, and I think that's what helps relationships
Right. Right. Very, very
grow.
nicely. Yeah. Very nicely put. I mean, yeah, listening to you that three mountains to hike and after that bungee jumping. I mean, listening to you itself, I get exhausted. So yeah, so I can just imagine like how you would have done it. Yeah, yeah. Few
And she
things.
does manage to do it. She does do
Yeah, yeah.
it.
Few things, few things which stood out is I think they really like that idea about talking to yourself and checking in frequently with yourself that how are you feeling, what are you feeling, I mean, do you need to take a break? I think that's an excellent bit of tip here. The other one which I like from you is you said setting the boundaries, so let other people know that this is who I
Yeah.
am, I need some space. So and I think as we were talking earlier also, people are now more appreciative of others talking about that and more accommodative. So setting those boundaries with your close ones, with your friends, like I just had this exhausting group work and then now I need some 10 minutes to recoup. So sorry, I'm in myself, so don't disturb me. And then after that, I will come and then we can talk. So that is like really good. And I think for friends also, for others who are extroverted, my request to them is also to be a bit proactive, to check, hey, do you need some time to recoup yourself? So that question is very valid. So you don't need to wait for an introverted friend to tell you that, hey, I need
Yeah.
some time with myself. But can you, as an extroverted person, seeing some of the signals that somebody is not talking or somebody is out of place, and can you just make that person more comfortable? So that will go a long way in building stronger relationships. And it's not that introverts gel with introverts or extroverts gel with extroverts. I mean, they can coexist. There are beautiful relationships, even in my life, with amongst these people. It is when you understand this very, very clearly. I hope that is in line with what you are thinking.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So I think we talked a little bit about this, like how do you set boundaries with others to protect your energy, and when there are some demands for your attention all the time. So are there anything else? We've covered a lot of the journeys about personal caregiving, managing a son with special needs, managing yourself. And I think that was probably the core of this talk. Managing yourself. How do you make sure that you are not getting overwhelmed by this? And then managing closer relationships in society. So, is there anything else, Lorraine, which you think is for the benefit of the audience, viewers, listeners, which you would like to share?
Yeah, if for me, I would say, always check in with yourself. And, more times I have found in myself, I'm the biggest critic. I feel I can't say that, or I can't say that, or, you know, um, in my head, I'd be like, oh, the judgment. If I stand away from the crowd, or because I feel overwhelmed, they're going to say, oh God, she's over there. Is she okay? And, you know, we are okay. We just want 10 minutes, just to
Right?
feel that inner peace. Because for an introvert, we recharge our energy by being silent and letting our natural chemicals relax. And then we feel calm, and then our energy comes back up. And I think when people understand that's all that's happening, there's and don't feel a big judgment, and because we can overwhelm ourselves more with a judgment from the outer or thing. It's always you're okay, and we all need to know that we are okay, and that we just like a different kind of recharge from everybody else. And that, just checking in, I found massively that self-awareness. If you can just bring self-awareness within 5 minutes, you can feel it. And it makes a difference in my home, because if I before I realized self-awareness, it was chaos. Everything just felt so overwhelming. Everything just felt like it's just all going crazy. But if I just took 5 minutes to check in and say, okay, maybe they're feeling off me, that I'm feeling overwhelmed, or maybe they're feeling overwhelmed, and just, are you okay? And, you know, how are you feeling and stuff? That little check in makes a massive difference, even for yourself in the morning, and then just checking in through the day just brings the groundness back, and the presence that you're back present really helps as a parent. And it is very hard to get it. 5 kids.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but it's also so important to take that, because that would be the best self-help you can do for yourself. I found.
Very, very nicely put, Laurent. So have no self-doubt that this is okay. You are okay. It is not that
Yeah.
you are weird or you are crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and you made it very nice when you put it in this way. Okay, being silent is okay. That it is your way of getting yourself more energized. So make sure
Yeah.
that you be self-aware to understand your energy needs. It's probably not going around with people, but probably being with yourself. And then take breaks. Make sure that others around you know that you need those breaks to energize yourself. And then take those breaks so that you can rejuvenate yourself and get more energy to yourself. Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Lorraine. This was like great conversation, and I really love you for sharing your personal insights into this journey, because it's very difficult to share that. One is sometimes I've talked to many people, so they said, "Oh, I just kind of do it," and they're unable to kind of tell me exactly what they did. But in your case, when I was speaking to you, I think many of those things came from your personal journey, and I'm sure that it took you took you years to understand that and distill these. Hey, this is what is working for me, and then share with us. So I really appreciate you spending time with us and for us as podcasters and also listeners, so that they can also gain from this. Uh, Wishing you a lovely day ahead and a great life
Thank
ahead.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lorraine.
so much. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. If this episode spoke to you, we would be so grateful if you could subscribe, rate, like us, whether you are listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else. And do share it with an introvert or extrovert who would like to listen and gain from this. Your support helps others discover this podcast and benefit from it too. Together, let's build a world that welcomes all kinds of voices.